I don't have an introduction for this podcast. I'm still very indecisive when it comes to these things, but I do go by Tony Awdball. This is an odd conversation here with a very special guest.
I'm Zzay. What's good? Zzay, UTR, Brew House Brew. What's good?
Cool, man. I think when I first met you was actually years ago. I want to say like maybe 2015 or 16.
Right, and I was gonna say I think I've known you for a really long time.
Yeah, it was at a philosophy show out in Whittier.
Oh damn, philosophy. Those are the homies. Was it a Lucky Lizard?
Yeah, that one.
I remember that show, dude. I had to fucking tell some fool to get off the stage because he tried to grab my microphone when I was performing. You remember that? Oh yeah.
Nah,
I had to tell some drunk old man to hop the fuck off my microphone.
Yeah, no, I just remember, because I went there for the homies from the Darksiders, which is Truth and Little Ray, and they had that mosh pit.
I remember those fools.
Yeah.
I still kind of see Lil Ray. I haven't seen the other fool in a while.
Yeah, the other dude's been like cooking up some stuff, but like he like encountered like an insane amount of shit in the past since then, pretty much. So yeah,
Right.
but he's back into it now. But yeah, I just remember like after the set, we all went outside and what's it called? And then you were like, hey, unfortunately my set's not gonna be that crazy, but it's gonna be a good set. It's like kind of like you had to go on right after them, and that's when I remembered like, okay, I gotta check this chick out real quick. You know what I mean? And so, but I had to dip out like right after anyway. But we're here. I try to find a lot. Do my research, find interviews, anything I can find about you. And I couldn't really like get too much, so I'm just gonna start off with some basic questions to get those out of the way. So like where you from and what got you into making music?
Well, I'm originally from San Gabriel. I was born and raised in Rosemead. I spent like majority of I guess my teenage and adult life in Southgate. So I kind of got like the best of both worlds because back in the day they were way different. They're completely different environments, like in Rosemead and in San Gabriel Valley, it's definitely more of a melting pot. You definitely have like different cultures and, different upbringings and that's kind of like where I first started singing. Like, even as a kid, I just could tell that like my voice was different. Like, I'd hear something on the radio and then my mom would be like, try and sing that. And I would, and then it sounded good, and like here I am only like 6-7 years old and like being able to like actually project my voice, but I was so shy. I was like so ridiculously shy. So like when my parents would be like, sing for us, I'd be like, hell no, and I'd cry. Like, I just hated it. I hated being put on the spot like that, But then my parents split and I moved in with my dad, and I lived with him in Southeast LA for like I said, majority of like my teenage years into my adulthood. And like that's a totally different environment, Southeast LA is not really looked into a lot. I feel people just like kind of like think East LA and that's it, but there's like Southeast LA, there's Northeast LA, and Southeast LA is like mostly like Cudahy, Southgate, Huntington Park, all those areas in that vicinity. And it's a totally different environment, purely Latino, Mexicano community. And, I used to get capped on for, like, not knowing enough Spanish or, like, not being, like, prepared, like, in that sense. And I hated it. I hated it growing up. I was always seen as, like, not Mexican enough or, like, not being able to relate with that, And it's just like, bro, I'm Mexican. I promise you my grandpa got chickens in his backyard. Like, we got cereal on top of the fridge.
Jesus, dude.
And,
yes, I totally, I don't mean to cut you off. I totally feel you 100%. People think I'm white. Like, they think I'm full white. I don't have an ounce of Mexican blood in me, but, like, I grew up in Fontana. And I grew up out there until I moved out to Whittier. And then, man, like, I got called every freaking white name you could think of. And then I would come home, and I'll tell my mom, it's like, yeah, they keep calling me white boy. But, like, 'cause I didn't know race at the time. I just thought, black and white just because it's only obvious. But then she's like, no, you're Mexican. You have to go tell them that you're Mexican. So I went and told them, and then they're like, you're not Mexican. I'm like, yeah, I am. My mom told me I am. And she goes, well, speak Spanish. Well, I can't. Then you're not Mexican. I'm like, oh, that clarifies it. Perfect.
You know, and it built up a lot of resentment towards my own culture, you know, like it built up a lot of like, well, fuck, like, then maybe I don't want to be Mexican, maybe I'm cool with you know, like, and I am multi-race, so like I do have different races in my background and stuff, so,
Okay.
I mean, there's always
Such
been
as?
that sense of like, oh, I don't belong to a certain subcategory of like cultures and shit, but one thing that I did fall into really heavy was music, and you know, just being like involved with choir. You know, I moved in with my dad, and I had the option of being in band or choir, and I went into band for a little bit, but then I wasn't really liking anything, and it was dope. Like, I learned how to play a couple instruments, but I felt like I should have been doing something else, and I had started hanging out with some friends, and like we were all kind of like trying to do like some 3L dub type shit, you know, like on some like little preteen singing stuff, and then and there were only two of us that really could sing. There was four of us, and then there's two of us who could really sing. And then one day we were like practicing at school, and then our band teacher was like, "If we're learning the Star Spangled Banner, why don't you guys sing it?" And I was like, "I can do that, you know, like why not?" But I was so nervous. It was for like an assembly, and like all our fucking friends were gonna be there, and I was just like, oh my god, why did I say yes to this, you know? But it was fun, and like, mind you, it was in the middle school with fucking the middle school PA speakers, and like, we totally didn't mesh with the band, but you know, it was fun, and like, from that, then the principal was like, you guys should do this at like games, and you guys should do this like when we have special guest speakers, and you get, you know, and I was like, fuck it, why not? And then at that point, my band teacher was like, hey, look, like, I'm going to put my best students in a competition to perform at the Kodak Theater, and they have a vocal competition. Why don't you guys sign up? My school was so, I guess, low income that we didn't have an actual choir. Like, we didn't have the money to have both a band and a choir.
What was it, like Rosemead or something? Rosemead High School? Like, what high school did you go to?
Oh, well, this is still in middle school.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I went to Southeast Middle School and Southeast High School. They're right next to each other in Southgate.
Okay.
Yeah, they're literally like right next to each other.
Is that the same? Is that the same thing as the Southeast Academy?
Huh? No, Southeast Academy is behind it.
Oh, okay.
There's 3 schools in that school, and there's Southeast there's Southeast International Academy, and then there's Southeast Middle School, and they also have an International Academy, and then Southeast High School. They're like all right, and then Jordan's like right across the street.
Okay.
But yeah, there was a competition, and he was like, I'm gonna send you guys. I really feel like you guys could kill it. So we went to audition. The audition song was Lean on Me by Bill Withers, rest in peace. And I nailed it. And I didn't even think that I was gonna do it, because the girl who was also singing in our group, she was a phenomenal singer, and she doesn't sing anymore, but she had a really good voice, and like had a really strong voice, and I was scared. I was like, fuck, they're only gonna take this girl. But then they called us back, and they told us that we both had, you know, pretty much made it into the competition, and that we were gonna be pulled from school every week to go to USC and practice. So like, here I am, like 13 years old with my first real like professional teacher and professional choir, essentially, because these were kids who came from like St. Mary's High School and St. Mary's Middle School, and like, you know, like Bosco Tech, and like all these like high-end like fancy private schools, you know, and like here we are coming in from Southeast LA. It's just 2 of us, mind you. We're the only 2 who are not in a choir. So everybody who was there was in a choir. So we were just like, what? Like, we've never even taken vocal lessons like this. So we got like trained by a really skilled professor at USC, and who was awesome. I wish I could remember his name, but then, you know, lo and behold, 3-4 weeks later, we learned 5 songs. We learned a classic song, we learned a folklorico song, we learned obviously Lean on Me, and then we learned like contemporary songs. So we had to show off our different styles, and it was at the Kodak Theater, and that was my first big show. You know, like that was my first real experience performing with a live audience. And
all at 13 years old.
It was experiences ever. And then after that, I looked for more things. Like, I was like, I really want to, like, continue competing or doing things like that. And it was really hard to find those, so I just stood to, like, writing my own music. And I've always wrote my own music. And then in high school, immediately I was like, I want to do choir. Like, I want to see what's up. I had already seen the choir because since the high school and the middle school were together, we got to come see their performances sometimes. So I was already like, I want to go there. Like, I want to be in the choir ASAP. I already knew the teacher. She had went to UCLA and she was fucking awesome. So then I joined choir and immediately like just found my place. Like, I was being put in all different types of ranges and being placed like on a bunch of solos. And even with that, like, we did multiple competitions. We always came out with like the highest scores, and we actually created another choir, an after school program called Troublemakers, in which we were a treble group, which pretty much means that we create the instrumental noises with our voices. So like, as opposed to having an instrumental, we would sing the notes that were part of the song.
Kind of like
a main choir around it.
Is that like a doo-wop type of like inspiration?
Kind of, but like, it wasn't like doo-wop. It was literal, like, mimicking. If you look up this group called Reverse Osmosis from USC, they're like one of the first people to ever really do it. But it's just like an a cappella group. So yeah, it does have like a Boyz II Men kind of feel, where we just like in uniform kind of make the song sound right. But at the same time, we were doing some crazy shit. Like, we were doing NSYNC, we were doing fucking Muse, like all types of crazy shit, dude. And like, here we are, like we're like 16, 17 years old, and then we went to UCLA. We got to compete there, and I don't remember winning anything there. I just remember us like kind of going and then having to come back. But yeah, dude. And then I sang I just sang a lot throughout, even before like high school ended. I just sang a lot, and then when college came around, joined choir. I went to Mount St. Mary's College, and was the first person in my family to really go to college. And I went there, and I wanted to be a nurse originally, and then I was like, fuck this, like, I want to help people, but I can't do it like this. And so I started doing environmental science, and then I got into the choir, and the choir was so small. There's only like 7 girls in that choir, and it wasn't hard to stick out, you know. It wasn't hard to stand out in that choir. And my choir teacher, Therese Fasant, she's still there, and she was just like, I'm like totally blown away. Like, you need to make this your major, you know. And unfortunately, I dropped out of college because it was just so expensive. But then, you know, I'm kind of grateful for that, because I feel like if I hadn't dropped out of college, I would have just stood like keeping my music at the wayside and just kind of like focusing more so on school. And then, you know, I mean, I'm sure my life would have been great with a degree, but, you know, like, I'm happy where it is now, and I'm happy that, like, those experiences still kind of shaped, like, my music life. And it's dope because I was able to apply, like, those professional skills to things like rap and to things like East of the River. And, you know, even before East of the River, I was in another crew called Iron Lung Movement, and they're from Southgate, and they're from Southeast LA, and like, they're dope, you know. I mean, that's why I think I can hang with EOTR, because EOTR is 10 people, and Iron Lung Movement was like 13 people.
Okay.
There are a couple artists who still rock, like Stanley Ipkiss. I don't know if you know him. He's from like Dark Ghost Clan or something like that.
I've heard of Stanley Ipkiss. I just didn't know like what he did. So.
Yeah, he's still making music. He definitely makes way different music now, but he makes music still, and I think he's really the only one still doing it. But you know, I gravitated away from that. You know, we just kind of had a fallout, and you know, things happen, and then I started doing more shows, and then I met Mad Max, and then I started realizing, like, oh shit, this fool's doing all the same shows that I'm doing. You know, like, and I started noticing that he was like rocking every show, but then so was I, you know. And like, a lot of you remember shows back then, like, there were a lot of whack ass people on the lineup, and then there were like 3 or 4 good solid people, and every show that I did, he was always one that showed out and always fucking just rocked that shit. So, he rocked it, and then I met Killatech, and it was at like a smoke-a-thon. I was like, oh, St. Patty's Day or some shit like that. And I was in line to get a medicated turkey leg, and fucking so was Mad Max, and just started talking, and then...
A medicated turkey leg?
Yeah.
How the fuck is that?
It was horrible. It was such a bad idea.
Yes, it sounds horrible.
In line was waiting to get it, and they fainted. And that should have just been like a sign to not get it. But I still got it and got fucked up.
Oh, God. Well, I'm gonna ask like a side question real quick. I'm sorry to cut you off, but like, do you remember like one specific time that stands out compared to other times you've been high off your ass?
Yes, there's definitely a couple of those. I think the funniest time that I've ever been faded was I was hosting a show for the Unity Project. Shout out Rick. I was hosting the show for the Unity Project at Characters Bar in Pomona, and my dumbass had never taken a dab out of a nectar collector, which pretty much has no water source through it. It's like a straight shooter for wax. And I don't know if you know also Blanco. He's from Whittier as well. He's a producer. He's really sick. He's a huge dab head, and was like, hey, do you want a dab? And I was pretty broke at the time. I didn't have no weed. I had no, like, way of getting wax, and I was like, fuck yeah, I'm down. I took a fat-ass dab. Like, stupid fat, not realizing that there's no water, and that I'm just hitting the source. I'm, like, just hitting the fucking wax. And then I, like, tell him, like, whoa, dude, what was that? And he was like, oh, that was wax. And it was, it's an indica, and it's a nectar collector. And I was like, why do I feel so dizzy? You know? And then I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get some air and I'm gonna shake it out. I'll be cool. And then I fucking go inside, and then I go to the bathroom, and I try and throw water on my face, and I'm like, yo, like, I'm about to die right now. Like, what the fuck is happening? You know, like, I'm losing my vision. I can't see. But I'm sweating. My ears are on fire. My fucking hands are clammy. I feel like my face is, like, pale white because I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I was like, what the fuck? And I walk out, and as soon as I walk out, I fucking faint.
Oh, shit.
And the host, or, like, the guy who threw the show, he caught me. And he told me that if he hadn't have caught me, I would have, like, smacked my head on the table.
Oh, man.
And then I still hosted the show, and then I rocked.
I mean, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, man, no matter, like, like how under the influence you are. And,
but
you know,
that's definitely, like, the highest I've ever been in my life. Like, even if when I take tolerance breaks and then come back and shit, like, I don't think I will ever be being that high, like, ever again.
So there is such thing as being too high. Yeah, because I used to tell people, like, dude, there is such thing as being too high. For me,
there's definitely is, and it's scary. But, you know, I think if you can handle it well and you just drink enough water and maybe get some CBD in you, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
But there are ways, now that I'm older, like, I definitely know how to, like, handle my substances a lot better. When I was younger, I was just, like, so fucking, what's the word? What's the word? Not irresponsible. I mean, yeah, but, like,
pothead?
I don't know what word it is. Like, not relentless, but, like, when you just don't give a fuck. Irrational. I didn't care. You know, like, I just did not care. I was just like, fuck it, I'm young, I'm gonna smoke, I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna do all, like, the things on. But, like, it's not like that now. Like, when I drink now, like, I really need to be in the mood to drink. And, I mean, I still smoke every day. You know, I work at a shop and shit, but it's definitely more so in, like, when I really need it, like, as opposed to back then, just being a little pothead and just wanting to smoke everything.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I used to tell people, like, honestly, when you're being too high, for me, I hate being too high when I can't taste my food when I eat. That's like the one thing I can't stand because it's just all mush inside your mouth. There's like no flavor, so
Yeah, no, that's why.
it's so uncomfortable, you know. So how was it working at a shop with this whole quarantine going on?
Oh well, hold up.
Oh, it's all
Okay,
good.
go ahead. Sorry, your visuals were like kind of weird.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, so I was just asking right now, how was the quarantine and the weed shops handling?
Honestly, like this quarantine shit don't even feel real to me. Like because I'm
Mm-hmm.
working almost every day. I work really long hours, and I'm dealing with tons of potheads who are pretty much coming in almost every day, just kind of not giving a fuck. Like it's supposed to be essential. You're supposed to only really come in when you really need it, and I just think like there's a lot of lack of consideration with a lot of people on a lot of areas. Like whether it be the people who are trying to get back to work and like are protesting. It's like I get it. You need your economy flowing, you need your money flowing, but at what cost? Like the fact that you would rather see a healthy economy than a healthy country says a lot about you and says a lot about people's just greediness and people's, I get it, money talks, but like right now, like I honestly wish they would shut down our shop. I wish if I didn't have to work, I wouldn't. But like right now, it's at a point where if you don't work, then you get fired, and it's like, well, fuck, like, what do I say to that?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just supposed to say no and not work. But even with this, even with everything, it's just like I think people don't understand things until it's too late or until it personally affects them, and that's what sucks. People don't have empathy or sympathy for other people, and I personally think that like it can go so many ways, dude. But I feel like people don't really understand like why things got so bad, and if you really like pay attention to politics, because as I get older, I really try and dive into it a lot more. And when I was younger, I was like, man, fuck this, I don't want to even be involved. But like as I got older, like that's such an ignorant and privileged thing to say. Like there are countries where you really can't get involved politically or even listen politically to what's going on. You're kind of in the blind's eye for a long time. And I listen to things, and like last year, the reason why things I feel got so bad is because last year Trump fired the team of like national pandemics. So like there was a team of like scientists and people who, if this were to have had happened while they were here, they would have had a solid plan and everything ready to go. But because they were fired last year and Trump rehired his homies, that's why there is no national pandemic team now. Like there is like that isn't happening now, and so like I think that's one of the main reasons, and I just think that like people are selfish about it. Like it sucks being in quarantine, it really does, but like I don't know, like it can go so many ways, because a part of me also feels like, well, why should we have to be inside for this long? Like it's like, to me it's weird, like this lockdown, it's not even so much of a lockdown because people are still free and allowed to do whatever they want, and that's why people are, like I go on people's stories and they're with somebody new every day, hanging
Mm-hmm.
out with like a whole new group of friends, and it's like, dude, like just I think the fact that people are just so like down to not be precautious is just crazy to me. Like we live in a world with people who just don't give a fuck. Like
Mm-hmm.
it shows, and I don't know, man. Like it really sucks to me. Like it sucks that like we're living through this, but at the end of the day, it's like a revolution. Like good or bad, like everything is gonna be 1,000% different after this, and there's no way of going back to the way things were. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe we shouldn't go back to the way things were, because that's exactly what brought us to this moment. And I was talking about it yesterday, and I feel like if this hadn't happened in like 15, 20 years, some crazy shit was gonna happen. Like
Mm-hmm.
the earth was gonna blow up from the inside out, or like there was gonna be some crazy nuclear bomb. Like that's my thing on it. Like I feel like this happened during 2020, like everybody's talking about like how 2020 was supposed to be like the year of change and
Oh
the
god,
year
that's
of
everybody's every
progress.
fucking year.
Huh?
That's everybody every fucking year.
Yeah, no, but like 2020 is a monumental year. Like think about that. Like 1920 was a monumental year. So like 2020, like you think about that, like the synchronicity of that number, like having clear vision, 2020 vision, you know, like all that shit, like the power of like this year that people genuinely felt like they were gonna have has been stripped from them, you know,
Yeah.
which is hella depressing, like super depressing. And the only change that I feel like we're really seeing is within the environment, but that's awesome. And like we virtually had to do nothing to fix it, you know, like we just had to stay home and not drive and not be out all fucking day, and like that's awesome to me. Like I would rather see that than anything else this year. Like maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm just like some fucking, I don't know, some hippie who belongs in the woods, but I don't know, like I just see, I like look outside and I like breathe and I feel clean. Like I don't know if that makes sense, but like me and Kiddo were talking about it yesterday, and it's like, I don't know if you remember breathing as a kid and just like being able to like take a clean ass breath, you know, and like now like we can do that again. And you don't realize how bad your air quality and all that shit is until it's clean again.
That's usually what happens when you're a California person, because there's people from Washington that would come out here, and one of the first things they really say is that the air is so nasty out here.
Oh yeah, when I went to Europe, as much shit as people talk about like Europeans and them being like dirty or whatever, nah, like people give a fuck out there. Like there's no trash anywhere. Even when I went to fucking the slums and fucking Moulin Rouge and like and all that area, like there was no trash. There was no fucking tents laid out everywhere. There wasn't like crazy smog. Like there was none of that. And you come back home and then you realize, damn, like we live in this crazy, monotonous, like consumer life, and it sucks. But you know, like I don't know, I think that is a really crazy times, and like I feel like if I wasn't working, then I would have no choice but to hone in and make new music and create new sounds. And even while working, I'm still doing that, because when this is all done, I'm gonna have like the dopest project. Like it's awesome. Like my next project is actually with Fourth Beats.
Shout out Fourth Beats.
Huh?
Shout out Fourth Beats.
Yeah, dude, Fourth Beats is a fucking beast, bro. Like his catalog is crazy. Like I'll just tell him like, yo, like I want a couple songs to sound kind of like Summer Walker, and then I want a couple other songs to kind of sound like SZA, and then I want other songs to sound like Clyro and Fuko. And
if I may chime in real quick, I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off. I apologize. You know, like you ever thought about maybe even going towards like a Snow Allegra route?
Yeah, like
dude, I love her so much.
I'm doing like I want to do more so stuff like that, because I feel like I'm a great singer. I feel like I'm a good rapper, but I feel like I'm a great singer, and I feel like I should just run with that. And you know, I feel like I'd rather just create a feeling with my vocals as opposed to just, obviously lyricism needs to be on point, but I feel like with rapping you need to not only have delivery but have dope ass lyricism and dope ass cadences. And with singing you still do, but it's a little more free fall, it's a little more out of form, it's a little more, you're virtually able to do whatever you want. But yeah, like the Snow Allegra, Alina Baraz, you know, kind of feel like that's definitely what we're going for. Definitely also like doing some like deep house kind of stuff and utilizing my voice as a sample, and it's fun, dude. Like, I just want to
Yeah.
make music that's more fun. Like, music that you can dance to, B, like, vibe to, like, just feel more like happy about. Um, the next project is gonna be like coming out around June or July, so I'm really excited. And I've been working with the person who did my Golden Days video. Her name's Zzay. I've been working with her to get the next video rolling for this project, and I'm just so excited, dude. Like, throughout, even with all this chaos and these like chaotic times, I'm still super excited to just like release stuff and get it all out, because I haven't been able to, and it sucks. They shut down our studio and excuse me, I have hiccups. They shut down our studio, and like, it was so depressing. Like, I don't, like, there's been like times in my life that have like made me cry, like made me really sad, and that was one of them. And it just sucked, like, you know, like putting in like so much work into something for so many years, and then like the city just being like, no, we're taking this away, like, you guys can't come in, you guys can't do anything, get your shit out, you know. And it's pretty much because of the virus, you know. So
Yeah.
sucks. Like, it sucks, man, not being able to have a, like, I would literally just pull up like at 3-4 in the morning and just write. And if I was feeling creative, I would just go. But you can't do that anymore. That's been hard, and I really feel for the people who need their outlets, you know, who need those ways to escape. But at the same time, I also think this is the time to not try and escape and just face whatever you have to face. Like, I don't know if do you dabble with psychedelics?
I love them. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so obviously you know that there's always like this internal battle or internal question that you're trying to answer, and I think this is like that. I think that we're living in this like dystopian time where like you're really given the opportunity right now to look into yourself, see what you need to fix, see how you'd like to come out of this. And people don't want to do that. People would rather just work or go out and shop and get their hair done and go to the gym. You know, like, I just think that people need to, this is the opportunity to work on yourself. And when do you ever get the time to work on yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Our biggest issue a lot of the time is that we never have enough time.
Yeah, that's
and
very
now
true.
we have all the time in the world.
Mm-hmm. That's like one thing I saw about this whole quarantine. So, you know, like, I've been having pretty much everybody I talk to about, you know, even talking about interviews or starting a podcast. It's been years, and it's finally on the road since the quarantine even started. And it's like, yeah, I kind of just use that to just, all right, you have no other excuses to come out your ass, just fucking do it now. And
Yeah.
so you just gotta make the most of it, you know. On the plus side, with everything I've done so far, a majority of people are up for like an in-person one after this whole thing lifts up, but that's not where the road ends either. It's just gonna keep on, you know, going more and more, and
Right.
you know, and that's like another thing too. With this whole separation from the world is that I honestly believe that we all need to just sit with ourselves for a little bit and like really self-reflect on shit. You know what I'm saying?
I agree, and I think that's the part that people avoid. I think that
Mhm.
people don't want to deal with that. I think people like would just rather like find some kind of other thing to do than do that, because obviously that's tough work, you know.
Yeah, it's like when I tell people about like mushrooms, they ask me like, oh, like, I'm about to take some mushrooms or I'm gonna take some acid. It's like, all right, well, are there anything that you're hiding from? Because, you know, yeah, they
It's gotta
got,
come out.
yeah, they kind of say they're gonna talk to you, and then if you're not ready to have that conversation, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah.
I never had a bad time with my experiences. So it's like, I think it's just because like I'm just like open to just like, all right, let's talk about this. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
so
That's
that's how I
good,
feel.
because, and that's what I tell people, you know, like, if you're about to be taking mushrooms or some kind of psychedelic, like, don't expect to get high, because you're not gonna get high. Like, this is literally about to make you purge and about to like bring some shit out of you that you really need to work on, you know. And I think that's the part that people really dislike.
Yeah, and like my favorite thing about it is that like nothing really matters. Like no materialistic things matter so much. You know, like you'll be sitting down and you're like, damn, like why am I even dressed like this for? You know, like You know, why do I do my hair every day? Like, I don't
Right.
need to do
And
this shit.
everything has a message, and but I like my point is that like you don't even need shrooms for that right now.
Yeah, you really don't. You really don't.
You literally have the time to just sit with yourself and fucking, and that's why I think it's hard for people. There are a lot of people who are depressed right now who can't deal with this because they have to deal with themselves mostly, and I think that, or like you have to think about the fact that like people are in marriages that they're not happy in, or in relationships, or probably not happy that they had kids or whatever, and now like all that is just like laid on them, and like
yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, like this is life right now. It is what it is. There's not much else we can do about it.
So how do you like fight off the depression and overthinking, any other mental illnesses going on?
I mean, I don't all the time. Like everybody has their bad days, dude. And I mean, I was just talking about with one of my other homegirls. Like it's been hard to stay inspired right now. Like I hate that people are on Instagram and are like, oh, well, if you don't come out of this learning anything new, like you lack discipline. Like nah, like it's a hard time. This is something that a lot of people have never experienced in their life, in their lifetime. Like the last time this shit really happened was during the LA lockdown for the fucking LA riots. And even with that, like that was bad. You couldn't take the bus, you couldn't do anything. Like at least we can take the bus and fucking go outside to the store, like like I just like all you gotta do, man, is have faith. Like I mean, I hate to bring up like religion and stuff, but like even if you don't believe in God, or whatever, just pray. And like there are just certain things that are like with me personally, if I didn't have music or writing as my outlet, and it's always been my outlet. Like even since I was a kid, like it's always been what I can rely on to help me feel better. Hold on, I'm gonna get my charger.
It's all good, no worries.
This phone to down.
We'll be right back after these few messages. Welcome to the On Conversation here with the High Mind Podcast. We're about to have a fun day for y'all today. We have about 4 interviews to do, 3 in the same day as today. Zzay is the first one, and we also have some other products. Welcome to the website. Website coming up soon. We shall see where that goes. Remember, high minds. Are we high or are we just above your head? Haha. Alright, cool. And we just got the charger. We're about to head back to the store. I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of fun just like fucking mimicking the whole like commercial right now.
Alright, cool.
Yeah, but we were on a controversial religious talk.
I mean like with anything, any outlet you have where you feel like you can like pray or just release or talk or like have a notebook, like, and it's hard not feeling like a burden on other people when you need help like that, like when you're sad or when you need answers, like it's hard. And a lot of times, yeah, you should just deal with it on your own, but it's hard asking for help right now. It's hard asking friends like, hey, like, can you shoot me some nice words right now, But I like to cook. That's my shit. Cook is like therapy to me. I love cooking. I smoke, obviously. If I didn't have weed, I'd probably be a much bitchier person. Sometimes I take days to veg out. Sometimes I'll just fucking stay in bed all day and watch Netflix. I work a lot, so like some days I just want to like chill all day. Like today I've just been chilling. Yesterday I chilled all day pretty much because I didn't want to do anything. There are just days where I just don't want to do some stuff, and you should listen to your body. Like, cause then I feel like that's when people get into aggro mode or get frustrated with themselves because they're already doing shit they don't really want to do.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person where like if my heart's not in it, if I don't feel 100 about it, then why the fuck am I doing it? There's no point.
Yeah, I was talking to Mad Max. What was it, Monday? I think it was. We had our interview, and like he kind of touched on how if like one person in EOTR, really has like a hard time and they're struggling with some kind of things in their head or just in life in general, you have like the rest of the members there just like ready to like talk to you and like be reach out and then lift your spirits up for a time of need really, and
Always.
yeah, and I think that's like a really strong foundation you guys have over there, and I think it's admirable to me. And so like how was it? Like, how long you been with like east of the river, and you know like how was like the love like spread all around there?
I got into East of the River at the end of 2000 or the beginning of 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like family ties, man. Like it's everything. It's good shit. It's bad shit. We fought. We've made up. We fucking have gotten drunk together. I mean, shit. We fucking all went to Europe together. Like we've made some crazy testimonies with each other, and I think, and it's been so hard not seeing them, dude. Like just even like. The other, like 2 weeks ago, Mescal went live and was performing, and I just started crying. So I was like, bruh, like, I miss seeing my friends rock, because all my homies kill it, like, they always just leave, like, such a good show, and, like, I miss that, and to be honest, like, this is the longest we've all gone without seeing each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the longest it's been since we all have gone without actually hanging out. And I mean, even like when this first happened, me and Kiddo would just hang out by ourselves, and like we thought we'd be straight, but then things started happening, and then Kiddo was like, nah, I'm not down. So we're planning like a cruise night, so like we can all cruise in our cars and stay 6 feet away from each other. But like, it just sucks, man, not having them in person. But I think what's gonna suck more is when this is all finished and we all have to find a new place to record. Like, we obviously want to have an EOTR studio number 2. I know that that's in the works, but like, I don't know when that's gonna happen. I don't know where it's gonna be. I don't know where we're gonna do Fridays on First next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff up in the air, but we all got projects coming. I know Kiddo's working on something. Me and Kiddo are both working on Brewhouse Brew Tracks with Irie, and I got stuff coming out. I know Max has more singles coming out, and Tech just dropped a music video. Soul Providers, they stay dropping stuff, and it sucks. It sucks, but we have a group chat. It's a thread of all of us just wilding out all the time, and that's dope. At least, I mean, thank God for technology, man. And imagine if we were going through all this and we didn't have any of this.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
If we didn't have FaceTime, if we didn't have Instagram, if we didn't have Twitter, like, think about how fucked up that would be.
Yeah, definitely. Like, a lot of people will definitely stop talking to each other.
Have those outlets like we do today. Like, that shit would suck. I don't even want to imagine that shit, having to be in quarantine with absolutely no way of being able to really contact people besides telephone, but like that's different. When
Yeah.
you physically can't see somebody, that's hard.
It's very true, man. I mean, like I remember like just FaceTiming like some cousins, and that's just like people I don't really see often, and even that felt weird in a sense,
Right. I mean, shit. I remember when I first got Facebook, I really got it because it was to keep in touch with my family.
Yeah. So. I'm gonna ask you like a big boy from Big Boy's Neighborhood inspired question. So like kind of like my token of appreciation here, and I'm gonna put you on the spot. So you're on a raft. You only have room for one more person on the boat. Who do you bring up? Mad Max or Viva Mescal?
So hard, but I mean, Max already knows. I think if we were stuck on a boat together, we'd probably kill each other. So probably Mescal. Because we obviously all bump heads. Like me and Max, we bump heads. Like I think if like we were stuck on a boat together, I'd strangle him and like be stuck by myself after like 3 days. Like I just know. Like even when we have day-to-day conversations, sometimes it's just like, are we really about to argue right now? Like, I'd kill you.
No,
It's
that's
over.
true. No, I believe fighting with your friendships and all that. It's actually healthy.
Yeah,
But
I think it's better than
mhm.
like staying quiet and like just having pent up emotions and like being salty, but like on the low key about it. You know, like I mean, I've had like now since I've been doing this shit for almost like 8 years now. Like I've had so many fallouts, but like when I really think about it, like those people weren't necessarily a loss to me. You know, like
Yeah,
it's not like it ain't.
it ain't no beef. It's just
Yeah, it ain't no love lost. It's just more so like do
yeah,
what you do and I'm do what I do. You know.
yeah. It's just like we're even though we're friends, we're not if we have different paths that we have to go down, it's definitely no hard feelings. Just we're not supposed to be in the same spot right now.
No, yeah,
You know.
but yeah, I would definitely. Or like if Mad Max didn't strangle, if I didn't strangle my Mad Max, he'd probably like throw me off that boat after like a day or two. I already know.
For sure. Well, one thing I've been noticing about this whole conversation is that like one, you answered like pretty much a lot of my questions that I have written down, which that's fucking dope. I don't have to. It saves me some work. But I do want to talk about your music a little more, and
Right.
I do want to give you a big appreciation for the fucking the Golden Days video. That
Hey, thanks, dude. Honestly, it was like a movie. You
that
know,
thing's
like
that thing's killing it right now. It's been what less than a month, and it's already picking up good numbers, a lot of comments on the video. And I was actually thrown off because I remember just like seeing you from years ago, and then like to
right.
see where you're at now, it's like, oh shit, like she's still like doing more and more every time.
I think like it's just crazy, dude. Like it was such a huge investment. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the reason that shit looks nice is because it was fucking expensive, you know. Like, but it was so worth it, and like it also puts the pressure on me because now any music video I do has to be like that or top that,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Yeah.
Like I cannot go back to a low budget music video. I can't, and that's mostly what I've done my entire career. You know, like it's always been on some gorilla shit. Like let me style myself. I mean, I still style myself, but like let me use clothes I already have. Let me not get a makeup artist. Like it makes all the difference getting a makeup artist, someone to do your hair, and not even just so much that it looks better, but as an artist, like like on set, you're not called artist. You're called the talent. Thanks, Dave. Thank you. Um,
Hmm.
sorry.
No, take your
Like
time.
on set, you're not called the artist. You're called the talent,
Yeah.
and that's all you should worry about. You shouldn't have to worry about, oh, why is that person not wearing what I asked? Why isn't there food? Why hasn't anybody rolled a blunt? Because I'm fucking stressed out. Who does anybody have water? Because my whole team is dying of thirst. You know, like you shouldn't have to worry about those things on shoot day. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and I have dealt with that. Like Lighters was the video that came out right before, and I loved it because even for that being a guerrilla music video and just kind of being on the spot with my homegirls, it was still really sick because even with that, there was a treatment. We wrote everything down. There was a budget. Like, but then even like the one with Day and Revival Reels, like the budget was way bigger. So thankfully, Dan Ganja, shout out to Dan Ganja and Rich Minds, man. He was down and split everything 50-50 with me. If not, honestly, I don't think I would have. I mean, I would have been able to do the music video, but it would have taken a lot longer to save up that amount of money. But
Mm-hmm.
like I said, it was 100,000% worth it. Like, and the shoot lasted all day. Like, it was a team of all women, with the exception of my makeup artist. You know, and it was just insane. I got there at 7 in the morning, you know, to an empty warehouse, and by 9 o'clock, 2 rooms had been built from the ground up
Mm-hmm.
by women, like fucking putting sets together with drills and fucking lifting up like plastic panels 15 feet high in the air, and you know, like the works, and like You know, next thing I know, it's noon, and I'm working on my second scene, and you know, that shit lasted all day. That shit lasted from 7 a.m. to almost 11 o'clock at night.
Hmm. So, how is the importance of the women in the whole music industry, like at least for your career path that you're heading down?
Honestly, I feel like women have stepped it up. I feel like women are taking over.
Yeah,
You know, I
exactly.
feel like women are really making a wave in all this. But also at the same time, I still do think that there are a lot of women who get recognition and praise just because they're women. And I know that that sucks to say, but like there are a lot of female rappers, especially I feel, who can't really rap.
They
And
can't.
just because they're cute or they're pretty, like they get mad praise, and I'm just like, I'm just over it. Like that's low key why I stay out of the rapping shit now, because I feel like there's a lot of like, but I fucking love like Lucy Camp, like fucking Alia Zin, fucking obviously Kiddo, you know, Belle, Rev, Gab, Blind Gab, like Irie, like those are girls that I know that can spit their asses off, and like there are just a lot of girls who can't, and because they have connections, or because you know they're dating somebody, or because they're like just cute, or like show a lot of ass, you know, they get a lot of praise, and like that's like I said, that's why I just kind of stayed out of that. Like I know my talents, and I know that like with singing I'm gonna get so far, and yeah, like every once in a while I'll throw a 16 into my songs here and there, but I don't want to focus on that anymore, and I think that a lot of the times, you know, it's a beauty contest, and I'm but at the same time, there are some girls out there who are fucking, they know that they like are thick, and they know that like they aren't like what the media portrays as like beautiful, but they're killing it.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean,
You
like,
know, like
you
they're
have
killing it. They're absolutely killing it.
yeah, you have someone like popular right now, such as like Meg Thee Stallion, where like I remember when I first heard about her it was over a freestyle, over like a Biggie beat, and I was like, dude, this girl is actually like, yeah, she's talking about like sex appeal really, but she's actually spitting though. Like she's not just like being cute about it. She's
And she was
saying,
actually freestyling. She wasn't
yeah.
spitting or reading, you know. So
Hmm.
like that's that's what gets me, you know. Like I won't fucking write a rap song, but I can freestyle all day, you know. Like, but I think that women are setting this whole new wave, and I think the importance is not only in the music industry, but now that I've done music videos like this, it's like this in the entertainment industry, and in the the videography and the cinema industry. Like it's it's such a man's world in that realm. It's crazy. Like I've done video shoots with both sexes, and I've done video shoots with all women, and you just see like there's a huge difference in power, you know, all of the time, all the time. And I don't know why, but I really did appreciate the all women crew, because it wasn't on some like fairy tales and butterfly shit. Like it was on some like, get up, I need you to be ready in 10 minutes. Like I need you to do this, this, and this, and like just a room full of bosses. You
Hmm.
know, like like there's a reason that women are called boss bitches, because like it's a it's a it's a factor of being like direct and open and having really good communication, but also being stern and holding your ground, and not coming off as like some sweetie who needs to be. And like that's what sucks. I feel like a lot of women need to be nice. Feel like they need to be nice in order to get where they want to get. When in reality, I feel like women should just be cutthroat and honest, and just be like, this is what I want. This is what you should pay me. This is why I need to be paid. This is why I am an asset to the music scene,
Hmm.
and this is why I should be respected. And I don't think there's enough of that. You know, I think that. And then sometimes when we do, we're seen as bitches. You know, but like,
Yeah. Well, like that's like another reason why I started this podcast was because I want to be able to create like a platform big enough to really shed light onto people that just overlook shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's why like even especially women in hip hop, like just like the women that you said, I've been listening to them for like a good minute. Like I've been listening to like Lucy Camp when she was like going by Lucid at the time. And then same thing with Leah Zen. Like I've been listening to her for like a couple years, and both those girls, they're dope, man. I love their music so much, and it's like it's about time that these people get more recognition just because they're not doing sex appeal shit. You know what I'm saying? And
Right. No, of course.
but if you got it, flaunt it. If that's good, if that what you feel is gonna be best for your career, But you have people like Snow the Product that don't show off her body, and she's fucking making a killing. So and
Oh yeah.
that's why it's like I want to try to create a platform to where like we kind of focus on the craft.
No, of course.
Yeah, of course we're gonna talk about all the other bullshit, but I do want to just clarify more on the music. Like I want this is the reason why I'm not listening to your music because you're cute. I'm listening to your music because you're fucking good.
And marketing is huge now. Like good songs are good songs because they're marketed well.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that. People don't. That's also why Golden Days has gotten the views it's gotten.
Yeah.
Because I have no doubt, like, by the end of probably by the end of March, I'll have like 20,000 views on that video. Because just the marketing behind it. I have ads running for it all day on Instagram, on Facebook. I have YouTube ads for it. We're trying to get Spotify ads for it right now. Who you send your electronic press kit to, who you send the song to before it's even released. Like, I sent the song to Miku, like, maybe even before it was, like, 2 weeks before it was even released. I didn't hear anything back, but, I did get picked up by, like, Latino Alt Radio and, like, a bunch of other, like, Beto really liked the music video. They're a huge, Latino influencer. So, I think that, like, if you invest into really good visuals, if you invest into really good marketing, the numbers are there, and there should be no reason why you don't get enough play on your shit,
Yeah. And that's makes sense. Sometimes you just got to spend the extra penny just to get some shit.
Yeah, I think that's the difference between a good artist and a great artist is how much money are you willing to invest in it? Like, I'm blessed to be working right now, and I'm blessed to not have most of my bills be on pause. So yeah, I'm saving, but you bet your ass I'm investing a lot of this money back into ad space and my next music video, and I'm already planning the wardrobe with the director, and I'm already planning, the layout with her and everything. Like, for all the beats from this album, I bought all of them off for it. They're mine now. Like, I won't ever, and I did that because I recently dealt with working with a big artist who had given me a beat, told me to work on it, and then stripped the beat for me and then gave it to 2 other artists, and now that song's popping. And it's like, damn, if I had bought the beat, I wouldn't even be dealing with this,
Yeah.
So I bought all the beats. I already paid for all the artwork. There's no samples, so I don't need to pay for any sample clearances. And right now I'm just working on my rollout, like saving and working, like just saving and working on my rollout, because I'm gonna start paying for commercials. I'm gonna start paying for ads. I'm gonna start doing all those things just to spread the word, because ultimately, like, you can have a European audience, you can have a fucking audience in China without ever going there, as long as you target your audience correctly. And I think that should be the new wave. Like, I'm gonna be straight up, like, as an artist, I don't see myself touring till I'm 40 years old. I don't see myself being on the road forever. Like, I kind of don't want to do that, because there's other ways to make money now. Like, my goal for 2020 is to sink on something. To sink on some show, whether it be fucking Insecure, Euphoria, Hentified, Ozark, whatever.
Yeah.
I that's my biggest goal right now.
That's where the money's at too, for sure. I remember taking music business back in college. I went to college like off and on, like every other year or whatever. But I did take music business, and I was a fucking star. And I always had to say that because that's like the only time that like everybody practically wanted to work and like try to like study and stuff. It was because it was like second language to me. It wasn't that like I knew everything. It's just that it was, if you are passionate about something, when someone speaks about something in the same range, it's just natural for you to just pick up easier on it. And
Right.
yeah, so that's why when it came to talking about money sales and such, a lot of good money even works with Netflix. All you need is about
Oh yeah,
you just need
Netflix,
10 seconds of
Hulu.
airtime, and then you get paid out.
Yeah, like my homegirl, St. Panther. Congrats to her. Like she fucking just she got picked up by Ballers on HBO, and then she got picked up by Insecure, and like I couldn't be more proud of my friends, dude. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like like they say, there's that phrase like, "Oh, you up next," like, and I just feel like this is the year, man. Like, this is the year where shit's gonna crack. Like, even with this quarantine happening, this shit's.
Well, hell yeah, dude! Look at everyone doing lives. Everyone's fucking more
I know.
interactive. Everyone's doing
I'm really
battles.
happy you didn't do this on live, dude. I'm really happy because I'm
Hell
so
yeah, dude!
tired.
Everyone's doing it, so it's like, you know what? Like, what's gonna make me stand out more? You know what I'm saying? And so I ask my friends too. They think I hate everything mainstream. I mean, I don't hate it, but I'm not one to run with the crowd so much.
Nah, yeah, I agree. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's smarter, dude, because it's too saturated right now, and
Mm-hmm.
that just goes to show you, dude, like, it's saturated everywhere. Online, in shows, in LA, everywhere. I have people in fucking Paris going live all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it's it's a different time right now. People just have to adapt. And, I posted something where, like, the governor of New York had said something like, if you want to work so bad, go be an essential worker.
Yeah.
And it's true. Like, either you deal with what you got to deal with and adjust, or you fail and fall.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I just think people need to adjust right now. Like, bro, if you want to make money, there are literally hundreds and thousands of job openings right now.
That's all, man. Shout out Gary V. He's saying no one gives a fuck about your feelings. No one gives a fuck what your situation is. If you really want it, you're gonna find a way to get it. You know what I'm saying? I
That's on everything, man. That's on
mm-hmm.
everything. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. For the Golden Days music video shoot, I was short like $800
Mm-hmm.
for the date of the payment,
Mm-hmm.
and
You just had to go on OnlyFans and you had to make your money.
no, I just had to I really just made some money moves that day, and not that day. I was probably short maybe even 3 days prior, and I was freaking out. I was like, how the fuck am I supposed to do this? And I picked up two back-to-back shifts, 2 days in a row, and I think I just pawned something and just got money for it, and just did it. And like for real, dude, if you really want to sacrifice something, you'll do it. And I just think right now people just need to adjust. People need to adjust, chill out. Like, I don't know. I just think that money isn't the only
vice.
yeah. I think there's other things right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna kind of gravitate this conversation back towards the Golden Days video, and
Oh yeah, my bad.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. This is your interview. I like everyone. I love you just speaking your mind. That's what I do this for. But but I did look into the credits of the music video, and reading the lyrics as well. But then I also noticed Reviving Reels. What's that?
Revival Reels is the production company. So
Okay.
Day Hernandez, who directed the music video, she owns Revival Reels, and she's worked with Revival Reels, and her team have worked with YBN Corday. They've worked with fucking Anderson .Paak, Hobson, all types of people.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, I'm excited for them. We're actually gonna be putting out Soul Sessions, which is pretty much like a Tiny Desk session.
Wow. Yeah, I like that. That's the thing. I love Tiny Desk. I love Colors. I love all those those small mini production live performances. It's just those are very underappreciated, man. MTV used to do those all the time back in the day, and then now we don't get those. You know what I'm saying?
And we did it with Memory Den and Nug Life.
Yeah, Nug Life is. I've been new to the Nug Life movement right now. Like those dudes that are running it. I don't know if it's one dude or just like a production thing that they're doing.
Oh
But
no, it's just one dude. It's just Nug Life is one person.
okay, is he also a producer or something?
Yeah, he's a producer.
Okay, because I think I remember seeing your name along with his on a song. But he also has like work with like the Underachievers and a lot of other like cats up from around this area too, and many from everywhere else. So yeah, I've been very new to them. So that's why I thought it was like I didn't know if it was just one person. It was like a production team, and it's everywhere for me when it comes to the internet.
No, I feel that.
So, all right, cool. Well, I mean, do we have like an upcoming? I know you said your next album is gonna be coming soon, but do we have like a name for that coming out?
I don't want to give the name just yet.
All right. Can we get a hint?
I want to wait till I have like everything ready, and then I'm gonna present it. But me and Fourth are super excited, man. Like, dude, I was so hyped that he was down because I had bought a couple of beats, and then I had bought more, and I was like, honestly, bro, like, I think if I buy one more beat, we have enough for an entire little EP, so let's just run with it. And he was super down, and I'm like, fuck yeah, let's run it.
Yeah, like knowing like the production that he brings to Vel, I can only imagine how it's gonna be for you. But
right, and
it's different. Yeah, I was say I bet it's
totally different.
Yeah, damn. Well, shit. I might get a little eager. I might have like after I turn this recording off, I might just have to ask a little more information about it, see if I get an exclusive for my own self. But so there's another thing I do on the show where with this whole lockdown thing going on, it kind of inspired it to where, let's just say this whole lockdown gets extended to the end of the year, just the rest of 2020, and the internet fucks up or the streaming sites. So you only have for some reason 3 options to 3 artists or bands that you can listen to, but that includes the discographies, whether it's like features, production, writing, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So who gonna be rocking with for the rest of the year?
Oh man, The Doors. Because they have so much fucking music, and they have like 55 live versions of each song. Isaiah Rashad. And Interpol.
And who? Interpol. Isn't that like a band or something?
Yes, Interpol.
All right. Yeah. Honestly, I love those 3 that you went with. Everyone kind of said something that's like kind of expected, but I didn't expect The Doors, honestly. So that was really awesome. Yeah, really good. And then of course you have Isaiah's phenomenal work. Even before Sylvia, it's really one of my favorite people to listen to. It's just that I think my favorite thing about Isaiah is that he will like rap his verse, but he also like does a different melody every 4 bars.
And his ad libs are fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Sick ass ad libs. I love his ad libs.
You have a favorite song by Isaiah or like a line that he has?
I really like the Heavenly Father song. Where he says, I love smoking weed, I hate advice. Just that whole song is so good, like with him and SZA, and he says a lot of real shit in that song, I feel. I mean, and then like in Pink Rose Gold.
Oh, I know what song I'm talking about. I think it might be something different, but
it's like an interlude. It's called Rose Gold, I think.
Yeah, Rose Gold. That's what it was.
Yeah, but that's another favorite song of mine. And yeah, I mean, he's just smart, man. Like TDE got it figured out, and they're all smart for keeping everybody on silent, like for real.
That is crazy. I used to go insane sometimes because I was a big Kendrick fan. Well, I was an Absol fan first, and then the Kendrick, and then I got drafted back to Absol. Like at least for like favors and stuff. But like I used to always binge watch their interviews and performances just because like these guys are just like so authentic, and yet it still fits. You know what I'm saying? And that's why like I'm till this day I'm still a super Absol fan, and Everybody from TDE, honestly. You know what I mean? Like even Lance Skywalker, and I don't listen to him often as much as I enjoy his music.
Right. Yeah,
Hmm.
like Sir, fucking all of them.
Yes,
SZA, all of
but
them.
I will say this though: before I die, I would love to even like witness a SZA Isaiah EP. Just give me like 5 songs.
Oh man, I saw her at Coachella and she brought him out for Pretty Little Birds. Oh my god,
What the
it
fuck?
was crazy. It was crazy. Like you could just feel their chemistry on stage. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, like I remember when they both got signed. I didn't know. I thought they were from like the same town, the same. It was like a duo thing that they had. Because I remember
I
listening
remember
to
that. Yeah.
like West Savannah. West
Uh,
Savannah is my favorite from
he's
them
like
too.
from New York, no, and he's like from Chattanooga.
Yeah, that's why I was like, damn man, this guy definitely down south. Like I kind of get it now with like the way he delivers his music, but like SZA, it was just a perfect blend. You know what I'm saying? And it just seems that like they just know each other their whole lives. You know, that's just me personally though, fans perspective. So I got one more thing I do on the show as well. Because it's something new. But there'll be times where I'll be on a road trip or I'll be at the gym, and I've been thinking like, what is some new music I can really add to these playlists? Whether it's for a first date or just to get energized for something. But today,
Right.
I picked these moods at random just because I want something different every time, and I want to know like what would you throw into the mix? One of your songs maybe, and definitely another song from someone else for in your feels.
I like Lighters by myself. That's probably my favorite song.
Mm-hmm.
I love the bounce of that song. We're actually gonna do a live rendition of the songs with Memory Den after all this shit's done. So I think even before it's out, the live version of it with the band is so good. Like it's ridiculous. Um, for something else that's new, honestly, dude, it's so fucking funny. But I've been so obsessed with that song called Neon Guts by Playboy Cardi and Pharrell and fucking all those fools.
Wow, I never listened to that. Nah.
Dude, you gotta listen to that song. That song used to be pumped as fuck in the
Well,
morning.
well, to think of Pharrell and Playboy Cardi working together, that's just like that little odd to me, but I like it.
And Pharrell produced it. That's the best part. Pharrell produced the song.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's like a trap beat, so it's like, what?
For sure, I'm definitely gonna check that. I'm gonna scope that out after this for sure.
Yeah,
Hell yeah,
no, it's fire.
for sure. Well, damn. I do have a lot more questions, but we are definitely over an hour, and that's why I'm excited for when quarantine lifts up because that just gives me another reason to do it in person, and then we'll work on some other stuff around it because I'm not trying to just stay an interviewer my whole life.
Right?
Yeah, but you know what? 2 more questions and we dip out of here.
Okay.
2025. Where do you see yourself?
Huh?
In 2025, where do you see yourself?
That's in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, out of quarantine. Oh man, I don't even want to be in the States.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be like in Europe. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, maybe for like a couple weeks, but I just want to be traveling by that point, man. I think 2025 I'll be 33. I think at that point I want to be done already traveling and done touring, and so that this way I can just come back home and kind of not live a normal life, but like focus on other things as opposed to like traveling and trying to get my tour done. You know, like I think by that point you're a different type of adult, so you should have different types of priorities by then. So I think by that point, like I already want plaques, I want YouTube awards, I want like, you know, music video awards, I want all types of shit. And I think what I want to do is essentially go into like the vegan cooking industry or like plant-based cooking. So hopefully have like, cause obviously like I can't rely on my music forever. Like I'm not fucking Gene Simmons where I can like just be a rock star till I'm like 50. But there are other things I'm trying to dabble with already. Like, you know, that I feel like will be sick ass outlets for the future. And I do also want to like get into like vocal lessons and teaching other kids and potentially like, you know, reaching out to kids who are at risk or, you know, who want to find that kind of inspiration but can't. I've always wanted to work with kids and music in some kind of way, so I'm hoping to do that like after my 30s, which is only in 2 years, which is crazy, but you know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
we'll see. But yeah, 2025, that's right around the corner. And definitely maybe, like, you know, like, kind of settled in some way, like, have a house and, you know, like, have a, not normal life, but kind of have, like, normal entities about life, you know, like, maybe be married, have kids, you know, like, I definitely would like to, like, see that before, like, 35. But I feel like I can do it. I feel like I can do all of it by that time.
Yeah, it's funny. I love your tweets about like fuck boys. Your tweets are fucking giving me life sometimes. It's funny.
You know what's funny? On another interview, the 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 interviewer was like, "Bro, your tweets be fucking making me die." Like,
Yeah.
and it's funny because I've had my username since I was like fucking 16, and I don't think I'll ever change it.
Yeah, I mean, best way to have it. I mean, saves you a headache to remember names.
But yeah, oh yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. Would you mind if we touch on that love subject real quick and see how your life is with that?
Huh?
Would you mind touching on your love life for a little bit?
Sure.
So like, what's your status and like how has your recent experiences been with everything?
Man, I just think that I'm in a place where it's not, or I'm learning, and like, I think my partner and I are learning to not place any expectations on each other. And I think that's really how you make a good relationship work. I think that there has been a turning point in my life because when I was a lot younger, I used to be really irrational. So I used to be like jealous and like possessive, and definitely more so the toxic person in whatever I was doing. But then, you know, you kind of hit a turning point in your life where you understand, like, okay, this isn't right. I shouldn't be acting like this. If I really love this person, I should trust them. And, you know, but it's hard, like, and it's stuff that stems from what you learn from, like, your parents and your grandparents that eventually end up coming up in your relationships, you know, whether it be, like, sexual or emotional or, you know, like, things like that. There are things that are stemmed in your, like, in you that I feel like are, like, generational trauma, but I also feel like we are the ones to break those things, if that makes sense. Like, my mom had me when she was, like, 19, and I think by me even beating that is, like, breaking a generational pattern that would have been followed had I just had a kid, you know, like, you know, and I think that, like, right now, because I'm definitely seeing my homegirls who are dealing with, like, their relationships and, like, they're kind of being fucked up by quarantine, you know, and I'm lucky to be with somebody who is understanding about it, and not only, like, I'm just grateful to have somebody who is still there for me during this crazy time, you know, and I think that, like, any expectation, though, in any relationship, like, I think when you withhold expectations from people, it puts pressure on them, and people shouldn't be pressured in relationships, you know, like, I think that things should just flow naturally, and, like, I think when you're walking on eggshells, I think now, as an adult, I see red flags way faster, you know, I see things I don't like way faster, and as opposed to just running away, I'm more vocal about them, like, hey, I don't like this because this and this and this. Obviously, though, it is hard to, like, not try and implement whatever's happened in your past to, you know, your present, but I think that if things feel natural, if you're not walking, you know, on eggshells, or, like, if you're a good communicator, I think things go well. I do think the better and open communication that you have, things will be smoother. You know, obviously, like, things go to shit sometimes. You know, I have homegirls right now who are dealing with some really crazy, fucked up love life situations, you know, and I think that at the end of the day, you need to be able to make yourself happy before even getting with anybody. And I think that's people's biggest problems. I think people are unhappy with themselves, you know, they don't truly, like, love themselves 110%, and I think that influences how they are in a relationship. And I think that, like, it is a growing journey. Even if you're not with somebody who's 110% in love with themselves, you can still do it. But there just has to be a really, really fluent stream of communication between both parties. Like, that's just what I can say is, as in my, like, you know, like, as now that I'm like 28 years old and going into my 30s, like, I can definitely say, like, those toxic traits and toxic people that, you know, that have influenced my love life and relationship are, like, dissipating, you know, like, slowly just, like, leaving my life. And that's awesome, honestly, you know, because I think the worst thing that can happen is being a smart girl and being somebody who's, like, really loving and has an open heart. Like, I think the worst thing that happens is so many girls just get hurt and hurt and hurt and hurt and hurt over this, over and over and over again, and then they become these, like, bitter, cold people. And I mean, it's both sexes, you know. I've seen it happen with men too, where they just become bitter and cold and don't have any hope or faith in, like, love. And I think that's a really sad thing to see and a sad thing to feel. But, you know, I'm happy, which is what matters.
Yeah, that's right. You know, and it's funny. I do believe that when you get older, it's like things just kind of just make sense. Like we always struggle.
Yeah.
It's like we know in the back of our heads, but we always just try to find reasons to kind of just continue what we're already on as it is.
And not even just that. Like, oh, is that you or is that me?
Oh, that was me that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, like, and it's not even just that, though, too. It's also the fact that we're, like, you see how certain things that your parents did, like, come out, like,
That shit's real. That shit's
that shit
very
is
real.
so real, you know, like the arguments you have, or, like, even the way you argue, or, like, your mentality about certain things. Like, I've been in that position where I'm thinking about shit, and I'm like, oh my god, like, this definitely is probably how my mom was, or this kind of feels like a situation that my dad might have been in, you know. And I just think that, like, as long as you're open and you're honest and you're real about what makes you happy and what you want, then I think that's what everybody should be doing. But unfortunately, you know, right now it's definitely a weird period of, like, love and relationships, and it's free game. People would just be treating this shit like free games, so I'm just like, damn. Good luck.
Yeah, man. Seriously. And so, I don't know. I also believe that, like, you know, when you're younger, you kind of just get all those, like, curiosities and urges out of your system. So when you get older and you actually settle down and, like, really settle down, not just saying it because, like, it's like, hey, like, I like you. It's just like, all right, this is exactly what it's supposed to be. You know,
right, and I don't think people know how to commit. I think people have a hard time committing because they're scared. But also, like, there are so many, it's like that 50-50 where you have people who don't want to commit, but then you also have people who are in relationships and are not happy because, you know, they've committed to the wrong person.
Yeah, I've had commitment issues before. Yeah, no, for sure. It's funny because, like, you always think as a child, oh, like, I'm never gonna do that, and then, like, yeah, I've had commitment issues myself before too. So it's like, all right, well, hey, what do you know? But you know, it's all good. I mean, it's a blessing as well, especially as an artist to have, like, someone by their side. You know, especially if you're still trying to make, you know, be on the come up. That loyalty really stands strong, for sure. So, salute to you on that. Salute to you know, the partner, and shit. We'll just close it out on that right there. Any last minute things you want to, like, announce before we dip out?
I'm gonna be premiering my soul session, pretty much the Tiny Desk. It's gonna be coming out within the week, next week, so be prepared. And other than that, yeah, man, just everybody stay safe, wash your hands.
Yeah, for sure. Send me that link when it happens. I'll be promoting that easy.
I got you.
For sure. Well, just like an intro, I don't have an outro either, but I go by Tony Awdball. This is an odd conversation here with a very special guest. Peace.